Hi, everybody. Welcome to Elizabeth Chance Podcast, formerly known as Busy Living Sober. How is everybody? Today is April 12th, 2023, Wednesday. It's episode 223. Can you believe it? And we are sponsored today by SoberLink. As a busy living sober listener, you know that my mission is to eliminate the shame of addiction through open and honest communication. So how does one do that? Well, SoberLink is a remote alcohol monitoring system that allows you to rebuild trust by sharing your recovery and with your support network in real time. As a monitored client, you'll have 2 to 3 opportunities a day to prove your sobriety to loved ones through a series of scheduled tests. Once you test, your identity is confirmed and your results are sent instantly to everyone in your support network, making it easier to rebuild trust and improve communication over time. To learn more about SoberLink, download the resource guides, tips for keeping busy living sober, or to request $50 promo code by visiting www.soberlink.com/BLS for busy living sober. Hi, everybody. So it's I'm here in my robe. If you're listening, you know what? It's been crazy. I got back from Europe. Then we ended up getting a new house that needs a ton of work. I've been knocking down walls and doing all this crazy stuff, and it feels amazing, but I'm exhausted and I'm a little late. And I realized that I'm much better doing podcasts in the morning than I am in the afternoon. So here I am. So you're getting this pretty much live. I mean, I recorded it and it's going out there. There's a couple things. A couple things are I have a lot of people requesting to come on the show and be guests. Do you guys like it better when I have guests or when I'm one-on-one? What do you prefer? What is your favorite thing for me to do? No one is anyone going to respond. So if no one responds, I'm just going to make a decision on my own. But it's kind of flattering that so many people want to come on. And it's just a matter of maybe having a day with a guest and then a day with Busy and maybe having it 2 days a week. That's my thought. I don't know. What are your thoughts? If you have a thought, send me a message on Instagram or write me a DM me on Instagram, or you can always you can send me an email at elizabeth@elizabethchance.com. And please subscribe to my show if you like it, because this is what I do and this is my passion. And if you like it, subscribe to it and tell your friends about it. Okay, enough about all my backroom office stuff. I am now want to talk about something that it's been like it's a hush hush thing. So I've been a member of a 12-step group known as Alcoholics Anonymous for a really long time. One of our traditions is you don't talk about it, but I am going to talk about it a little bit because I think that for me, I've been getting a lot of messages from people that are like, I don't want to go. I hate it. There's so many people that don't like it. And I think there's so many people that haven't even tried it. I think that the Alcoholics Anonymous, how it was founded was brilliant. 88 years ago it was founded. And I think that the anonymous part gives it this sort of, at least it did for me. And I'm going to talk about my experience with this and my experience with 12-step and my experience to share with you. And whether or not you go or you don't go is up to you. But I just want to give you one woman's experience of what it has been like in this program and what it has done for me rather than what it hasn't done for me. I am a firm believer that I was so scared. Okay, for one, I was really scared when I went to AA. I was really scared. It had this connotation of like, oh my gosh, only people that are, street people go, only people that like live under the freeway, only people that carry bottles in their bags. Even though I had relatives in there, I have had friends that were in there, I knew celebrities that were in the program, but I still had this fear that was so overwhelming. I'm like, oh my God, I don't want to go to this. And it was the scariest thing I've ever done. I've said that many times. If you haven't heard me, if you have heard me say it a million times, you're hearing it again. But it was the scariest thing I ever did for me was like walking into like pulling that church basement door and opening it because I was scared that once I walked through that door, the gig was up. And it was I still to this day remember it like shuddering in my feet, like, oh my God. Like I was more scared to go walk into that room than I was to get married, to buy a car, to buy a house, to do anything else in my life. It was the scariest thing I ever did. And so today it's got, I don't know, it's got a rap about it that there's so many things that people get opinions about it. And I think whether you go or you don't go is up to you 110%. I think that if you get sober doing something other than a 12-step program, good for you. I think whatever you want to do is up to you. As my son Henry always says, you do you, boo-boo. But the fear of the unknown is something that I don't want anybody, like I would, if you're out there and you've been thinking about it and you're like, I don't know, I don't know, I don't know. It's not for me. I'm not that bad. I don't want to go to there. It's kind of scary. I get it 110%. I can relate to you. I've got it. I felt like that myself. You are totally normal feeling that way. But I can tell you that since the minute I walked in there, I was like, this place is divinely, and it was like divinely like invented. So much. Bill Wilson, who started it with Dr. Bob, I swear a lot of it came from the Bible. And I know a lot of people aren't into that, but he was a member of this group called the Oxford Group, which was a very Christian group. And, for me, it talks a lot about God, which I don't think is a bad thing. God's not bad. I know God has had a bad rap of recent for some reason. Christianity has been going to the wayside. A lot of stuff has been going by the wayside that was so important when I was growing up. And I know that like when I was growing up, you had to go to church. It was like mandatory. It was not like up for debate. And I know a lot of people that went to synagogue and they had to go to like people who had to go and get ready for their bar mitzvahs and all the bat mitzvahs and all that sort of thing. And they had to go study. And today, because of, I don't know, childhood sports, we don't do it as much. When you're a parent, you're like too busy taking your kids to birthday parties, sporting events, that going to church is like the last thing that you feel like doing. I remember when I was still drinking, my kids were little and it would be like, oh my gosh, I've got to take my kids to church, and be like, we got to go, get ready, put on your goddamn shoes and praise the Lord. Literally, that's what I would say, because I was so exhausted from my week. And I know so many parents out there are like, I am pulled at every string, and to thought of like going to church is just too much. But not to digress, which I just did, going back to the 12-step program, they talk about God. And I think it was so smart because they say that God can be whatever you want it to be. God can be a doorknob. God can be a chair. God can be, it's just something to think about that's bigger than you. So that's what they use in the program. They use this word. But what I think is so amazing is that today we are so separated, right? We have been, since COVID, it has been like pull apart. There's anger politically. There's so much fear about, not only COVID, which is still out there, we all know, but finances and how you're going to be able to afford this, how you're going to be able to afford that, keeping up with the Joneses, how much more expensive everything is. It's just like crazy. And you're like, how am I going to do my life? It's so bloody expensive. And we have fear from that, right? When you go to a 12-step room, at least for me, I went there and I really thought that they were going to show me this magic trick of like, oh my gosh, this is how you don't drink and have a happy life. Walk down this path and you're going to be able to drink responsibly. You're going to be able to have this life that's amazing. And that wasn't the case. They don't teach you that. Okay. They don't teach you how to go and drink properly. They don't. I thought that they would. I thought that they were going to make it okay. I thought I was going to go. It was going to be rapid up, done. I'm done. I'm never going to have to do it again. I was going to graduate one year. I thought they have these 12 steps, which are so brilliant. So brilliant. And I just want to tell you, because if you're out there and you've never tried it and you're like, this looks scary, I don't know what it is, I'm going to just, there's this book, they refer to the big book as, the big book is the book Alcoholics Anonymous. It's a big blue book. I was scared about that. I was scared about all these things that it was that this program was. And again, it was started 88 years ago. There's over 2 million. I would probably bet that there's more than 2 million people that go and are involved in it, because the one thing about it is that this crazy program that we're in because of the anonymity piece of it, and because of the fact that it's voluntary. You don't pay to go. I mean, you can donate $1 if you want. It's like when you go to church, you can donate money, or you go to synagogue, you can donate money. You don't have to. But it's $1 or $2 sometimes, but it doesn't cost any money to go to this. And I think because of that, there's no real statistics for A. You wonder why, because nobody takes attendance and says, oh, were you here? Were you not here? Give me your name, give me your number, give me your social security number, let you check this box. Are you this? Are you that? None of that goes on when you get into the program. You just go and you raise your hand, and nobody uses their last name, which is also brilliant. And I wanted to read to you the 12 steps because I just think that, again, I love them so much. And I'm just going to read to you. Step number 1 is we admitted we were powerless over alcohol, that our lives become unmanageable. 2, I came to believe in a power greater than ourselves, which could restore us to Sarah. Do you hear that? A power greater than ourselves. So I call that power God. Now, again, you could call it the doorknob. You could call it your deceased relative that you love, a deceased friend that you loved. You could call it, the tree. You could call it Mother Nature. You could call it something that's bigger than you, that you have respect for. That is the big thing for me. Now, by the way, this is, again, all my opinions every time on Busy Living Sober is Bizzy's opinion, nobody else's. Okay, made a decision to turn our will and our lives over to the care of God as we understood him. And a God can also be that power greater than ourselves. So God, as I understand it, for me, that's a really hard one. We'll go back to that at some point. If you want to hear about it, reach out to me. Made a searching and fearless moral inventory of ourselves, admitted to God, to ourselves, and to another human being the exact nature of our wrongs. We're entirely ready to have God remove all these defects of character. Humbly asked to remove our shortcomings. 8, made a list of all people we had harmed and become willing to make amends to them all. And number 9, made amends to people whenever possible, except when to injure them or hurt others. And number 10, continue to take personal inventory. Number 11, you pray and you meditate. Number 12, you help others. And I paraphrased all of that. Because I didn't want to get into all of it, because I've done that many times on this podcast. You can go back and listen to them. Maybe I'll do it again if somebody requests it. But so when I came in, I was raised Catholic. So I had some rules because I had gone to church as a child and had some, I had some idea of morals and what was important morally and what was, what was right from wrong. I knew the 10 Commandments, those sort of things. So when I came into this program, and it had been many years, obviously, that I had been I'd gone to church, but not as a child and not obviously sober. So when I came into this program, what I love about it the most is that there's no judgment. And some people are listening can probably say, well, I go to these meetings, people judge me all the time. Well, they're human beings that are judging you, and it's not everybody, it's maybe some. And it isn't the land of the healthy. I don't think the world is healthy. So you walk into a room and you expect that to be healthy. It's not. People only come, they just have to have a desire to quit drinking. That is it. They have to have a desire to say, I don't want to drink anymore. It's too much. Now, for me, when I went in, again, all of this is my opinion. All of this is my paraphrasing. All of this are my own original thoughts. They're not the thoughts of anyone else's except for mine. I have to keep telling you guys that because my opinion is it. Nobody else's. So when I was drinking too much and I had these 3 little kids, and it's what I did for fun. It's what I did for everything. I was always the last person to leave a bar. I was always the last person to leave a cocktail party or a dinner party. I just wanted to be out drinking. And it wasn't as much about the company as it was about the drinking. And so I was there in my house, and I woke up and I just was like, I can't do this anymore. I knew that drinking had taken its toll on me. I knew that I did not like who I was becoming. I didn't like what I was. And it didn't matter what anybody else said. It was how I felt inside of my heart and my soul. And it was like, I can't do this anymore. It's not good for me. I don't like how I feel the next day. I have 1 and I have 50 million. I every time I have one, I just keep going and going and going. And I know I'm not a morally bad person. I know I'm not an ogre. I know I'm not this horrible thing, but the way I feel after I drink, I feel like a horrible thing. Like, what did I do? And I don't remember. And I blacked out all the time. And I remember going, I have to do something that's different because I'm social. I love people. I'm one of those rare people I think that loves people. I don't know if it's rare or not, but I know a lot of people who don't love people. I love people. So I wanted to be around other people that were like-minded and had the same sort of, like, just, didn't drink. I wanted to be around people that didn't drink because for so long, if you didn't drink, I didn't hang out with you, right? Because my whole thing was about getting drunk. And if you didn't drink, or if you didn't drink and you saw me, for one, you were scared because you're like, look at this girl. She loves to party. She goes in and out of blackout. She slurs her words. She falls down. So I scared regular people. But I knew in my heart that I had to change. I knew in my heart, in my soul, I had to change and I needed to meet new friends. And I knew that the only thing I wasn't going to, I didn't have anybody that was going to take my kids if I wanted to go to rehab. It just wasn't going to be in the cards for me. And I was not drinking to the excess yet where I would have needed a doctor's help to get off alcohol because I was more of like that weekend warrior. I do recommend anybody talking to their doctor anyway. And, you can always do teledoc and talk to that doctor and they don't even know you if you want to be honest with somebody just to make sure. Because I do know people that have died from coming off of alcohol. I always want to throw that out there. But so I quit. I'm like, I'm going to quit. And I knew I needed more help than just being by myself. I knew I needed like somebody to help me. And, so many times I couldn't afford a therapist. I'm just being honest. I couldn't afford a psychiatrist. I couldn't afford to go see a therapist once. I just couldn't. It was not in the budget I had 3 small kids. I hardly had any money. I wasn't making that much money. It was terrible. So I was like, I need to do this. I need support. How am I going to do this without the help of others? How am I going to do this? I can't afford to get a psychiatrist. I can't afford to get a therapist. What am I going to do? And the crazy thing is, AA has the best statistics of all. Okay. I know many people that have gone to treatment centers and have gone in and out, in and out, in and out, in and out, in and out. And, spending a fortune putting your house, like getting another mortgage for your house. And for me, there has to be a willingness too. Like, as I've mentioned during this podcast, I wanted to change. I wanted something different in my life. I didn't want to keep going the way I was going. No one put a gun to my head. No one said to me, oh my gosh, you have to do this or whatever. There was nothing like that. There were no repercussions out there that people were saying, if you don't go get sober, I'm taking whatever. That wasn't going on in my life. For better or for worse, that was, and it wasn't going on yet. It could have gone on at any moment, but it wasn't going on yet. And to think that I was like, I need to change. And this is about my life. We come into this world by ourselves. We die by ourselves. This is about how I want to live my life. And I knew I did not want alcohol in it anymore. And I knew that if I kept drinking, my life was going down the shitter. And so I luckily had some family members that were in the program and they pointed me in the right direction of a meeting. And this is obviously pre-COVID. And so I went to a meeting and there's many meetings. I can't even tell you how many there's thousands of meetings and it's depending where you live in the world too. I know if you live in a booming city, they're all over the place. Here in South Florida, where I live in Delray, there's a million meetings all the time, every day, all day long. You can get to a meeting any time of day. I know if you probably live in the middle of a rural city and state in the United States. I know somebody was in Canada. I saw somebody yesterday on a Zoom meeting in Canada, and he doesn't live anywhere near a meeting. And so Zoom is like the best because Zoom gives you so many options. Yesterday, I went to a meeting in Bali, Indonesia. Yes, I was in my house and I went to Bali in Indonesia to a meeting. There were people from Sydney, Australia. There were people from all over the world there. And you know what I loved about it? Is that I was there and there was a gentleman who had a long-term sobriety, 25 years, I think he said. And he was like, I haven't had a drink, but I smoke a cigarette. And I'm like, oh my God, that's me. Because sometimes I smoke a cigarette, especially when I'm stressed out. And he's like, and I don't like that I do that. And we judge ourselves, right? But I felt like, yes, there's somebody else in the world that's like me. I'm not by myself. And that's what I found in the program. I found people that were like me, people that got what I was talking about, people that could say, been there, done that. You don't have to beat yourself up about it. All we all want to do is feel like we're okay. We all just want to feel like it's going to be okay. I just don't want to do this by ourselves. And since COVID, we've all been isolated, 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 isolated. And being with human contact and talking to somebody else who is like, I get you, I got you, I understand how you're feeling, I understand what's going on in your life, I totally get it, just hold on tight. And, you know, for me, like this mentorship that they have in the 12-step program, it's called sponsorship. Having a sponsor that you relate to, that you can tell your truths to, was a savior for me because I could call my sponsor and tell her everything that was going on in my life on a daily basis and say, oh my God, I need help. And I wasn't taught to do that. I was never taught to ask for help. In fact, it was the exact opposite. You got this. You got this. You don't need any help. You're fine. You're fine. You're fine. Was always pumped into me. And I'm fine. No, I'm not fine. I'm never fine. How do I get better? You know? And having that ability to be able to say to somebody, this is how I'm feeling, having them listen to you, know that they're not judging you, knowing that they're loving and kind on the other side. At least that's what I found in sponsorship. And if I didn't find that in a sponsor, I got a new one because there's so many people that offer to be sponsors. Thank you, God. It's all free. And having somebody that help guide you through your life, listen to you when you're going through these trials and tribulations is just brilliant to me. It's just brilliant, you know, especially for us women today. We don't have a lot of friends, right? We don't have a lot of friends that we can trust, that we know are going to listen to us and not go and tell everybody in the neighborhood what we've done. We don't trust like we used to. Or like they're going to go gossip with somebody else down the street and tell them what happened. And it's going to be on Instagram and it's going to be on Facebook. And I don't trust them. Totally get it. Totally get it. You know, it's God, it's just so, this program is so amazing. It doesn't cost you a thing. And people say to me, well, I don't like that meeting. There's like scary people there. I've been to meetings all over the world and thank you, God. And I've met people that I've heard things come out of people's mouths that I would never have in a million years even spoken to. And I'm like, that person's brilliant. We all have these outside costumes that we wear, our skin, our hair, what we put on our bodies, clothing wise, shoes wise, accessories wise. But on the insides, we're all the same. We all have a soul. We all have a heart. We all have a desire to be loved. We all have a desire to feel like we're okay. We all have a desire to be like, I just want a hug from another human being that's going to love me. I found that in these meetings. And I used to say to people all the time, did you like every bar you went to? Did you like every restaurant you went to? And you'd say, no, I don't. Well, why would you think you'd like every meeting you go to? You're not going to. You're not going to like every place you go. You're going to have to search and find other ones. And that's why Zoom's so brilliant, because you can go on AA intergroup. You can just type into Google AA online Zoom meetings and wait till you see how many there are. Crazy. You can go anywhere in the world. You can even go to one that's right down the street from you and not even show your face. You can just keep your camera off. It's just so supportive, I found, for me. And do what feels right for you. Don't let the fear of this God word of what AA means take you to not like there's that old saying, don't bite off your nose in spite of your face. Don't let that fear overcome your maybe just go to check it out, like your curiosity. Take your curiosity to the next level and walk it through and be like, I'm going to walk through this even though I'm scared. I know that the whole thing is scary to some. Being accountable is scary. Being honest with somebody else is scary. But in the same vein, the rewards of being honest with someone are like that old Visa commercial, priceless, priceless. I hope you heard something today that you liked. Please reach out again to me at elizabeth@elizabethchance.com. Let me know your thoughts. Should I have more guests on again? Because I have a litany of guests that are coming on. I think a lot of them go on a lot of the other podcasts that are about sobriety. So I'm like, why do I want to have the same guests that everybody else has on? Because I know they probably just send out mass emails. But I would love your opinion as a listener, as a subscriber. I really care about what you think. And so what do you think? Should I have more guests on? Who do you miss that I had on that I haven't had on? And again, I today identified, I'm just going to end with this, I have all this crazy stuff, this house going on and, dust everywhere and upheaval all over the place. And soon I will have peace again. And, but during this crazy time, I just know that I have to get centered each day. I have to breathe. I have to meditate. I have to pray. I have to go to one of these Zoom. I go to a lot of Zoom meetings, I have to be honest. Just to hear the message and to know that I'm not alone. And I want you to know that you're not alone. I get that feeling of shame, remorse, self-loathing. I could go on and on. I get all those feelings, but just know that you're not alone. And this too shall pass. This is going to be, you're going to be in a new phase soon. It's just how you ride this wave of life. And what are you willing to do to take charge of your life? What are you willing to do? What are you willing to do? Let me know. Have a great one. I'll talk to you guys next week. And I hope you enjoyed this week's episode. I hope everybody gets busy living sober. I hope you all have a great day. And again, please reach out and I will reach back out to you. I promise. Until then, until next week, if you don't reach out to me, I hope you have a great week. Take care. Bye.